All right, so let's talk just a little bit about writing objectives. Objectives need to be specific and they need to be measurable. That's one of the biggest things that people overlook whenever they're writing objectives is how do you define or how am I able to go in behind you to look to see if that student, if you can measure the student's ability to do whatever it is that you're saying they need to do. So let's talk about airway, for example. And a student needs to be able to identify a nasopharyngeal airway, oropharyngeal airway, and a bag valve mask. So that's one objective, 3 different criteria in it. So that is very specific. They need to be able to identify a nasopharyngeal airway, an oropharyngeal airway, and a bag valve mask. That's specific. It's also measurable. How can you identify, how can we tell that a student can identify something? Simply by putting it out laying it out on the table and having the student come in and say, show me the bag valve mask, show me the oropharyngeal airway. That's how we assess their ability. You can do it in written form. You can do it in several different methods by that, giving the student the opportunity to identify specific areas. Other areas, other things that are difficult to describe, that become difficult, are when you use objectives like understand or understand a particular area. We can't be able to really objectively tell whether or not somebody understands something. So what becomes really important when you're writing objectives is to use action verbs. You look at those action verbs and be able to use action verbs that make it easy for you to see how you can assess those objectives. So I'm going to give you a list of action verbs that work really well, and also some action verbs to ignore or to avoid when you're writing your objectives.